for things that I need to interact with, then you have things that need to be interacted with. If I have just as many counter spells as you have threats that we see in a given game, and I land a frog or a Murktide, I should be able to win that game. Not always a perfect formula, but gives you a rough idea of your goal. But I was kind of going through a lot of the matchups in Modern that I care about. Kioma, what's up? Oh, Kioma, I opened my chests on the other account and opened 2 full art Ketramose and a foil set of Bloomborough that I can't do anything with. Thought that was pretty hilarious. Nice, but also F, exactly. Just 4 black fetches. You could run like a Bloodstained Mire over the Flooded Strand. Probably should. I'll do that. I have to go exit the event and re-enter. Could probably do one more. Oh, never mind, really. I'm afraid if I leave the event and try to re-enter, it's not going to let me. What's wrong? What we got? Do you force turn 1 Aether Vial, Merfolk, or Black-White? If I've got a force and my opponent plays land Aether Vial, probably, because if they're an Aether Vial deck, they're going to have a critical massive creature, so Force Negation's probably dead after that point anyway. MJ23. This Tron or Eldrazi. No, I played against them not too long ago. No idea. All right. This Rakdos burn. Oh my god. A free real estate. $36 ticks. Is that how much their deck is? I'm sure like 20 of it is Vine Lasher Kudzus. Puts the Goblin Guide on the bottom. Yep. Probably need to jam the frog. Give it a fine counter magic. Maybe they target my frog. Yeah, this is the deck that knocked us out of top 8 in Sunday's challenge. We went with Merc, put him on the clock, and said, I am aggressively dead if I play the FrogTide here. Like, their entire deck is just 1 mana, deal 3 spells. So the only way I'm living is if I find something to counter. Add the other creature. But at least I know that we were dead regardless of what we did. What's the deal with the red-black burn decks? I've seen them popping up a bit. Couldn't tell you. I wish I had an answer. Let this Dismember go. What's Kaito for? Black-white. Yeah, the black-white X mid-range decks. The Solitude decks. So I guess I was supposed to leave back the Bowmaster token last game. I was kind of thinking since they were just throwing spells, they didn't have a creature. Maybe they top decked it, but. I'd love to play first. Okay. Are we Bowmaster? For counters. Yep. Okay, I could go consider and try to do something about that. Swift Spear off the board. And let's see if this Harbinger can do something. Got a Vine Lasher trigger. Okay. Now I can decide if I want to sink into stupor this Vine Lasher. I think I do. Rather just play out this Murktide. Love that swamp. That's the same Euroland I use in my paper FrogTide deck. Good choice. I was kind of like looking around trying to decide what basics I wanted to use. All right. Game 3 on the draw. Not really a lot I can afford to change around. I've used the logic plenty of Thoughtseize being a gain 1 against them. Take 2 instead of take 3. Maybe I want some number of Thoughtseizes back in on the draw, potentially over a Harbinger or 2. Yeah, pricing paper, thankfully not so much on Magic Online. I don't mind seeing a um, suspended Rift Bolt on turn 1. I don't know if they run Eidolon. The few times I've run into this deck, I haven't seen it, but it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Okay. Counter spell might be nice. versus top 4 challenge deck right now. Top 4 challenge deck that I have lost to. They beat me to get to top 4. Sunbaked Canyon in the yard. I'm skewered. Okay. I really don't even know if I'm playing Murktide here. Three, four, five. Like, I could just make it a 3-turn clock with 2 counter spells. Maybe we draw a force. So much of their deck is sorcery speed that I think I'm kind of leaning on that. All right, so I get Undercity Sewers, untap, island, Murktide, hold up, counter spell. Want to go ahead and fetch the island just in case I frog draw into it. I could also afford to just not attack here because I'll have a lethal attack with the Murktide next turn anyway. That's probably the better play. All right. Nice. Last seen 19 days ago on Dimir Murktide. I guess we'll find out pretty quickly if we're seeing them today on Dimir Murktide. My vote's going to be for no. I think we're just going to go ahead and push this, be mana efficient. Hopefully just untap with a frog. Okay. I'm going to go Flooded Strand for an island to play frog. I know that I've got this Dark Slick Shores, but if my opponent is able to answer my frog, then I want to be able to potentially go Polluted Delta for Swamp, Thoughtseize, Murktide next turn. A lot of Goblin Bombardments. Yep. Attack. Attack, you coward. That's pretty good. Don't know if it's going to do a whole lot in the face of Goblin Bombardment or double Goblin Bombardment, but no. We're going to hang back a turn. Get my frog back. Nice. So we got Anoint, Deluge, Spell Bombs, Stern Scolding. Harbinger's pretty mid, especially on the draw. Kaito's a little too slow. Take out Tamiyo's, Thoughtseizes. Usually just trim on like a Force to round it out a bit. Got a removal spell, we've got a bowman, we've got a counter spell. A lot of D stuff. Ragioli, Ragioli. One of these days, I'm going to get like big blown out by an apostle's blessing or something. Forced to play around Mana Tithe. Big brain. All right. I'm going to go ahead and kill this. They didn't play a land last turn, so they have a one lander. I kind of want to just take this out. I could get kind of punished by, like, they found second land and Johnny. A little annoying. But yeah. It happens. Getting towards Murktide. Okay. No. Playing a Murktide here. What you got? Dismember? Excuse me? All right. The Bowmaster down this token. See if they want to flip the Ajani. The Guide of Souls, you can have the Ajani. Okay. So gotta find an answer to Flage like this turn. That counts. Go. McWin sauce. Last seen a day ago on White Black. They mulliganed. I think I'm gonna keep into a mulligan. I've got like some good tools. I got threats. I've got some amount of interaction. I don't know if they're on Vial or Relic, if they're on Black White, but I've got Force for potential either. Down to 4 cards for this. Do I want to just force and ditch this? Blue to Delta is a fantastic draw here. Now I've got Counterspell up. Just such an occasion. I think I'm just jamming a Murktide. You can deal with this. Or have another Ketramose. Okay. Ketramose is online. Mm-hmm. All right, so they're gonna blink my Murktide, which is gonna trigger the Ketramose. In response to the Ketramose trigger, I'm gonna Bowmaster, shoot the Flicker Wisp. Ketramose is gonna trigger, shoot them. Surveil into turn. Hate just putting Ketramose back on top. Or back into hand. Good enough. If I put it into the graveyard, I could potentially play 5/5 Merc, grow this to a 5/5, hit for 8. Now we'll just keep it on top. And I think we're just going to go ahead and... Am I going to sync this? Yeah. want to wait when they're a deck with Ephemerate. Like, I want to make sure that if I'm going to sink this, it's gone. Ending my token. Get no trigger off that. I can Fatal Push, target the Ketramose into turn. Be able to get another counter on the FrogTide. That means if I top deck a Shoot the Sheriff, it's lethal. Any cantrip is lethal regardless. That is also lethal. Steal game one. Top deck counterspell, it's better to keep. If I top deck counterspell, then I'm just sitting on counterspell, right? So like the Fatal Push doesn't really matter. All right. Anoint, Surgical, Kaito, Deluge. We're on Deluge. I don't know if I want Harbinger in this matchup. Harbinger seems kind of mid. They've got 3 Emperor of Bones, 4 Felia, 2 Boggart Trawler, 4 Ketramose, 4 Overlord, 4 Solitude. Spell Snare's pretty mid. We were talking about this one earlier. About trying out just cutting all the FrogTides, bringing in the Stern Scoldings. A Spellbomb's probably fine. Something like this. I'm getting to it. Just working down the list of sideboard stuff. Unfortunately, being on the draw game 2 is significantly worse for us than being on the play. that away. Looks like a Thalia. Yep. If you have White Orchid Phantom and they're 75. Might be a little greedy. So I'm going to take a big chunk of damage here. Got an Emperor. Let you target with the Emperor. In case your last card's a Ephemerate. Overlord's gone. You have the Ephemerate. Yep. That's a rough one. Needed that land some kind of bad a while ago. So I need this to be absolutely nothing as their last card in hand. Gotta push, you gotta push. Solitude. Anything I can do with that? If I put in sync, consider, or put in sync Tameo Frog. I'm down to 2. They blink. Blink the frog. They have a lethal attack coming through, so that doesn't do it. If I consider and find a Fatal push. I could kill the Felia. Yeah, consider he's got to find fatal push. See people just like consigned a bit in the matchup in Discord. Every time I see new caster versus Orzhov, it slaps. It's fine. It's just the current builds are like a little better against consign than they used to be because the current builds are heavier on like Ketramose and Baelmerk and stuff that don't care so much. Where the old builds with 4 Flicker Wisp, 4 Felia, 4 Recruiter, they were a lot weaker into consign. Not feeling the spell bomb. I think we just don't have enough slots to fit in the board. That's all. I mean, that game would have been significantly different if we just had the lands, right? If like Kaito, Tamio, third frog, something in there were a second land or third land. Not that it would have been an auto win or anything, but like a relic or a thought seize. Well, play the matchup lottery. Take the land. I would like never recommend taking the land because all you're doing is trying to get like a cheese play, and the chances of them just drawing out of it, I think, are way too high. Like right here, they found the second land, so now that play just didn't do anything. I think it's just not worth that risk. I think I resolve the Felia here. Yep. Can't really attack. I guess they could, but all right. I need to get this Kaito on the battlefield. some way, somehow need to get Kaito down. All right, so they're wanting me to flash in Bowmaster so they can flash in Wandering Emperor. I'm gonna take this offer because I can Bowmaster, hopefully trade off with the Felia, or trade off the token with the Felia. Subtlety, the Wandering Emperor here. Felia's gone. They put the Wandering Emperor on top. This comes in 3. Could potentially tick up to 4. They've got Emperor of Bones, so I need to tick Kaito up. Or it just dies to Subtlety. Or no, it's got 4 loyalty. That's fine. Get a 0 there. They're just going for the Wandering Emperor. Could tick up and try to make this a 2-turn clock. I don't hate ticking up. No blocks. I do like sinking the Stupor. I think I'm going to draw into it. It's going to be pretty good interaction into something like an Overlord on their turn. Nope. Sure. In you. My turn. Land first. Gun down a token. Push the other token. Solitude. We go ahead and sink into super because they could solitude their own guy and live. They have no more white cards right now. Put this. Attack all at you. Sorry, hold on a minute. Kaito! I know you probably already talked about this up a little bit, barely. Opponent last seen 21 days ago on Grinding Station. Ooh. They won a challenge 21 days ago on Grinding Station. How greedy am I? Pretty. Watch him go land seas on sync. Well, then you would see me snap off this force negation pretty aggressively. I want to see if I can spell snare a rumble. I don't even know if they're on breach, honestly. It might not be. I don't know if breach is running Thundering Falls, but I could be wrong. Feels like breach. Ride one top to the bottom, or one top, one bottom off of the preordained. Bobble themselves. Maybe is it Merc? Could be. I don't think it is, but it could be. All possibilities are on the table. Firing off this force. tomato. Nice. Yep. I think I care about the bowmasters here. Go for a lightning bolt. I would like to save the frog. This frog is getting up to a pretty sizable threat now. Hold on to that. Yep. Last two cards, two breaches. All right. Not quite Kaito, but I guess. Guess we'll ride this little frog to victory. All right. Harbingers, surgical, spell bombs, okay. I'm on the draw, so I'm less excited about stern scolding. Sign is okay. Board out. Bowmaster's pretty bad. Here's fine. Shoot the sheriff can come out. Usually trim a Murktide. The last spot could be a cantrip. It could be a Tamio on the draw. Could just cut all the bowmasters. The extra bowmaster. Subtlety is definitely not great, but on the draw, I think it's a little bit better than like scolding. Could just have an extra removal spell in and not be the worst. Follow themselves. Sit on a spell snare here. Try to see if we can tag a malevolent rumble. Nope, no rumble. Nope. Go away. I mean, fair. Oh boy. Full house breaches over flames. How we're doing this, eh? No! Love that. Not only is it a land, it's like the worst land for me. At least we can get down a FrogTide. Might eat it before we can get a lot of damage in, because I'm expecting them to have a artifact, the bounce artifact. Guess we get some sort of damage in. Yep. In the lightning bolt. They went for needle on Missy. I might have cried. They top deck a grinding station. This feels like top deck grinding station. Okay. So I can respond with Fatal Push on the token. I know their hand is the 3 Underworld Breaches and a Spell Snare. If I respond with Push the token, they don't have Metalcraft. So then I could counterspell the first breach here. Or I can counterspell the grinding station. What kills me? If I let this resolve and they have a second red source off the top, that kills me, right? Counterspell this so they can't spell snare because they don't have Metalcraft. Consider is better than a random draw. Want to consider main phase. Force doesn't do anything that Spell Snare's not already doing. I'm binning this. Alt Seize is fine. It means they can't double breach next turn. Back. When it puts an Underworld Breach on the stack. You'll take Force Negation. Force doesn't do anything. Force doesn't let me double spell. So Force just doesn't do anything that Spell Snare's not already doing. But I could find another Murktide or a Frog. That's a bold claim. Mystic Remora exists last time I checked. Not for modern, but keep this. Says they're on Broodscale, so or they were last seen on Broodscale. That are so far better than Preordain. I don't know if I would say better. Being able to hold up mana has been nice. Like, you really want consider on the even mana turns and preordain on the odd mana turns. The turns where you're like, I want to play this Murktide and I got an extra mana. I would like to have preordain here because it's the best cantrip I'm doing. But on the odd mana turn or the even mana turns where you got 2 mana, I'd rather have consider so I could hold up counterspell on their turn and then fire off consider if they don't do anything. There have been a number of games that we've been stuck on like 2 lands, and having preordained, we would have had to take the risk of whether or not we found the land. That can be awkward. Sign your own trigger so it doesn't die. Are you talking about the Jotun Grunt? Doesn't it just go on the stack again next turn? Y'all can hear this dog in the background. Maybe opponent went to go take a nap. These rounds have been going like fairly quickly, so I'm also really not a fan of the current timeout structure. I feel like it should be closer to like comp REL. Like if you get to a 5 minute point, there's a game one loss. And then if you get to 10 minutes or whatever, it's a match loss instead of what is it, like 12 minutes and you get a match loss on Moto. See what you got. Ancient Stirrings. Stir them, ancients. Eldrazi Temple. So I'm looking for a subtlety, a force of negation. Murktide's pretty solid. Also a really good draw. Am I just ditching this consider and jamming the Murktide? think I am. I like that. Esther Mike, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon so far. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. We'll find another blade. Fair. Definitely a toss-up. We ran the risk of them having a Broodscale if I didn't force. They have the Broodscale. I think it's better to just take the Broodscale. I don't know if there's like a mathematical reason why one is better than the other here. You have a blade on suspend, but they also have a blade in exile, a blade in the graveyard, now a blade in hand. So if I took the blade, they've got one left in the deck. Or I guess they have. Yeah, if I took the blade, they'd have one left in the deck that they would have to top deck right here for me to be dead. They found a Kozilek's command. Just cast the Kozilek's command. There we go. Kept the card on top. So I have to believe that that card on top kills me. I guess they do have to find one more thing. We're just gonna hang out and do some cleaning up around the desk. Go check our phone. Hey, where am I? Might and another Kozlek command. Yep. I guess at least at the moment they do have to target their own Blade of the Blood Chief with this Haywire Might. It's kind of funny. Is their plan to just not die? Yes, at the moment. Two on top. That's a pretty good one. Have no Blade of the Blood Chief. FrogTide puts you to 1. Okay. I do really appreciate stealing game 1 here. I do not know. Yeah, they do have Cavern of Souls, don't they? I've seen some of these decks going really hard in on Emrakul the Promised End post board. But I need at least need to be aware that that card exists. Then Veil of Summer, Cavern. Stuff that I do not want. Subtleties, a little mid. Force is pretty mid. I don't want to be too heavy on counter spells post board. Plus, I'm bringing in consigns and stern scoldings. Cameo's pretty mid. Bowmaster's mid. The one Soul God Lantern in the main. They could be bringing in Vexing Bauble. I doubt it, but we'll go through game 2 and then make adjustments on the play game 3 if necessary. I don't want to spend too much time like worrying about how to adjust to what they're sideboarding when I've got a more advantageous game 3 on the play if necessary. This hand seems fine. Seize plus surgical, frog. That's not screaming. I have got the card Veil of Summer. I don't know what is. And smart and lured me into thinking they have a veil. He brained me. I'm gonna ditch the counter spell. I'd rather get to this Harbinger. They just put a Saga in their hand. All right. Show me the veil. Uh, Main phase Kozilek command. Play a frog. Pass to their turn. I'm gonna surgical the Kozilek command on their draw step. Broodscale, Dismember, Saga, Rumble. How am I approaching this? Flesh Raker, Saga Vista. Taking a Flesh Raker. See if you want to dismember. Now, do I want to force this? I kind of do. I think I actually really do. Because I got force this, consign the Flesh Raker. Harbinger of the Sagas. Yeah. Or we rip a Cavern of Souls off the top. This is going to ping me. Do need to consign the Broodscale. Yep. Yep. Can we stabilize? What if I go jump the frog, attack in, Harbinger, my Harbinger holding up Anoint, or my Harbinger holding up Counterspell? I think I kind of have to assume at least that they're not going to top deck something right here. I probably just need to go ahead and anoint. Yep. Pass back. Should have attacked with the Harbinger. Like frog food to me. Draw. I do not want either of those. Want that either. Doesn't. I don't think it matters if I play out this frog or hold it. Like, it's lethal either way. No, it's not. Why not attacking with Harbinger? Because I don't know if they're like a Mox Opal list. So I don't want to give them the chance to just like top deck an artifact and have a lethal construct attacking here. Yeah, they have to block the Harbinger because if they block the frog, I can discard to this frog and it's lethal. But I just don't want them top decking like a Blade of the Blood Chief or whatever, something like that, and making a lethal construct on the attack back. So I'm holding off the Harbinger as like a last ditch. Happy sandwich. Last seen 2 days ago on Boros Energy. Let's keep it. Show me 7 copies of Ocelot Pride. All right. Take a Ragavan. Ranger Captain, Flage, Galvanic Discharge. Opponent did not snap top deck another copy of Ragavan. They do have an Arena of Glory that we got to keep an eye on. Just go 10-0 so Kaito raises the $30. I'm not tempted to buy it. Not your investment machine. And a fatal push. I might just jam this Murktide here. Honestly, I think there's a very good chance that I'm just jamming this Murktide. I get punished if they top decked another discharge. I could wait, go Surveil, and next turn Murktide with Counterspell and Force backup. No, we jamming. Definitely jamming. You gotta clock them. I'm gonna put a Flage in their graveyard. Ranger Capitan. Three, four, five. Arena. Have a Sacred Foundry. Get a Guide of Souls. All right. This is the Flage Land Discharge. Yep. All right, I guess we got too greedy. Flew too close to the sun. Show me the Flage. We didn't need a stub. We needed like a fatal push or something for Flage. Yep. Definitely forgot to set a stop on their second main. Thought I had one. That's on me. Gonna need to find another answer for a flage. Um, I save the life here and get rid of this cat. Okay. We'll take this 3, go down to 7. Plan on sinking to super into turn. There any way I can play out this Murktide? It's currently a 5/5. Murk. Subtlety the Flage. Just wait. Subtlety this. They can't flage this turn unless they attack him with the guides. It's Ocelot Pride back on top. Go the Ocelot Pride's on top. We've got City's Blessing. I think I need another subtlety or a counter spell. Well, what we wanted. It's probably not good enough if they just attack with this cat. Yeah, I think the not attacking is fine. Like they could get back a Flage, but it's second main where arena doesn't matter. Can I afford to just take this? I do need to kill them. If I take this, hit back for 8. Not pumping the cat with first strike seems like a mistake. Maybe, like, if I have a way to instant speed grow the FrogTide though, and I just get to block the first strike one and kill it. Like, the only way you're losing this game is if I kill this cat and stop the Flage. So attacking with this cat is just like opening yourself up to me having a way to deal with that. Like if I have a fatal push and you go all in on this cat and I kill it and then have like counterspell for the Flage, you just lose on the spot. There's just no coming back from that. So pumping the second cat just at least make sure that you're not like killing yourself over an attack that doesn't matter. How much does Forced Negation Exile come up for you? At least twice, right here. I hit something. This is like a pre-combat creature. This is kind of nice because I can stand in front of this Ocelot Pride. All right. We're at like they're just jamming everything stage. So bricking kind of game over. Kaito. Don't want Thought Seizes. I don't want Cameo. Don't want Force. A lot of decks care about their graveyard for various reasons. Now the exile is often pretty relevant. Yeah, I mean it's definitely relevant against Breach. It can have like non-zero relevance in the mirror for exiling spells so that FrogTide's smaller. I don't think it comes up all that often, or like stop an extra card in the yard for frogs, stuff like that. Where it's like this tiny little amount, but it's non-zero, so you got to at least mention it. Johnny Nicodle Pariah. Not really sure why they would do this pre-combat. I guess Bowmaster. You want to know if I have Bowmaster or not before you commit? Reasonable. Hopefully they're just nice and go for like a Flage. Vacuum, sure. Not as scary for me as it is for like the Unearth builds. Sewers, trigger on the stack, consider. Care about that one. that one. I'd rather have an untapped land if I'm gonna have a land. Eat my bowmasters. Sure. Go ahead. Why I hate Dark Slick Shores so much. I mean, it's kind of a necessary evil if you're really hard in on Thoughtseize. But yeah, if you don't have Thoughtseize, it looks pretty mid. Island and not a swamp here. All right, do you have second static prison? Hey, lovey. Any consideration to fetch for island there before casting to make sure they can't somehow triple spell? You mean like fetch for island before casting my Murktide? I don't want to fetch if I don't have to because they have 3 drops in their deck and I want Revolt for Fatal Push if I can afford it. You're a turn late. So I just don't want to have to fetch, or I don't want to fetch if I don't have to fetch. I don't really want to dismember this seasoned Pyromancer. They've got the Ghost Vacuum already. So if I throw, if I kill the seasoned Pyromancer, they're able to just like freely exile into turn. That could be rough. Got a Guide of Souls. Get the Ghost Vacuum all these things back with flying counters. All right. So am I just hopping the frog to... They can't use the vacuum to flip the Ajani because the Bowmaster and the Ajani come in at the same time. They have to pick a target for the Bowmaster before the Ajani trigger resolves to make the Cat Warrior. They can't kill their own cat and flip it. The Ajani even flip when it's a token disadvantage. It's not a token right now. It's the actual Ajani. It's just a 1/1 flying spirit in addition to its other types or whatever. All right, I think I have to take this hit. What if I go push Ajani or no, push the Bowmaster, fly the frog, Murktide becomes a 5/5. Attack in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I would have to find a removal spell. Just have to pass. Pass and hope opponent's got nothing. All right, so they're wanting to flip their own to Johnny. If I go push a Johnny, jump frog, block, discard Scalding Tarn. Block, discard Tarn. Fatal push a Johnny. Frog. Take 0. Probably should have just responded to the Ocelot with killing the Ajani or killing the guide there. I guess it doesn't really matter because they could have responded to the Dismember with Spyro. See what we hit. Ah, right, that is a thing, isn't it? I'm at 6. Why not just kill Guide of Souls? If I respond to the Ocelot with Kill Guide, they respond to the Bowmaster with the Spyro from the yard. it gains them 2 life. They go to their instep, make a token off the cat, make 2 more tokens because they had the city's blessing off the 2 they made off the elementals. And I just have like no way of dealing with them going that wide outside of drawing exactly what's it called? Deluge. I'd just rather keep it a little more contained. Not that it's in a great spot regardless, but can I attack? Need to attack at some point, so I guess now's as good a time as any. Maybe opponent will be nice and play whatever they draw pre-combat. There's no guaranteed lethal since both of these have flying counters, the Bowmaster and the Guide, so they can always just block something. All right. Could just mean that they top decked a Flage and none of this matters. If I block, fly this frog, block on the 4/4, block the Guide, block the Bowmaster, take 4. I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on the crackback. So if opponent drew nothing. Come on. Oh, it doesn't have flying. Crap. That's fine. That's fine. Do they really not have anything? Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Hit them for 1. Or hit them 2-1. Put the frog trigger on the stack. Oh man, you. Okay, well, we got 7 minutes to win game 3 on the draw. I want to change things up. Do I want to change things up? Fours? Probably not. I want surgical. No. I think we're just rolling with it. We probably got to jam a frog or jam a FrogTide quick and pray. I like that. Draw. All right. I would like to untap with a clear board and a frog. What say you? Um, yeah. Johnny out of here. I'm gonna ignore the bombardment. I'm saving these forces for like a static prison. All right. Fair, I guess. I was gonna say I'm gonna dismember this seasoned pyromancer before the trigger resolves, but hey, here we are. Okay. Any way we can kill, discard 4, fly, no. Dismember, they kill the bowmaster. No. I'm just gonna make sure we get an attack in with the frog. And we're just attacking him with everything because they're going to be able to block the army and ping off the bowmaster anyway. So it just like doesn't really matter. Yep. Keep that. Play around like double discharge on the frog with discards. Not dead to escape flage. The Johnny flip doesn't matter, right? But it's kind of free to just not let them have a flip to Johnny. Oh. Could be a turn 2 flip cameo. See what they're on. Looks like breach. In which case bench lied to me. Also would have kept that spell snare on top. Feel like playing Dimir FrogTide like a control deck seems to work the best from what I've seen and less tempo-y. I would agree. His act is strictly played Storm forever. Guess he couldn't take it anymore and joined the Breach crew. When I played him in the challenge a couple days ago, he was on Neo brand. I guess got tired of that one. To get back, cameo. Probably wouldn't be that bad right now, but Not very in love with my position at the moment. Gets back in Emery. The feeling of I lose every single turn of control, can't beat it. Well, I mean, I mulliganed to 6, threw back a spell snare. I'm not exactly surprised here. That's why we have games 2 and 3. On the play. Already like forgotten what my sideboard plan was. Trim a Merc, trim a whatever. Bowmaster. Trim a Tameo. Say go or trim a Preordained, keep a Tameo. I'm also kind of wanting my food, so rolling with it. So we didn't play Breach. The the challenge on what was it? Wednesday, Thursday. We played it twice on Sunday, beat it twice. And now we played it twice today, beat it once, and TBD on this one. Like I said, I wanted an extra threat over the subtlety. Might actually just go down 2 subtlety and go up a stern scolding. I think Breach will be banned in March. I don't want to say no. I'm optimistic because I don't think Breach is like the insane win percentage that other banned decks have had. It's like sitting at 55 or something. It's not like a 60% win rate deck. It hadn't had an absurd meta share. It's still like not the top dog in the meta. Part of me really wants to force this Opal. Spell Snare, the best card in the matchup. It's good, but I need a lot more than just a Spell Snare to get across the finish line from here. So I'm not really like afraid to just give up a Spell Snare. I do kind of want to flip this Tameo. Dang it. I should have just been that counter spell. Like I knew I was looking for a land. That would be why we wanted the what's it called? Um, Harbinger. Discard, discard, discard. If I can't block that they have a Flame of Venor, they can just respond to a discard and kill the frog. Cameo flips. Get to take out the Tamio. Come on. Think we're gonna hit a land? Nope. And it's gonna try to kill us while we're tapped out here, I'd assume. They scry. One top, one bottom. Yep. All right. Last seen 24 hours or 24 days ago, grinding station. If opponent decides to keep their 7. Guess we can change the stream title now to top 8. Okay, fetch land go. See if they're. Looks like they're actually on breach. Turn 1 crack bobble's really good for me. That means no Tamio and no Emery. Which are both things I absolutely don't want to see here. I don't really want to see you. I do, however, want to see you. Pretty good. Dang. How many spell snares are these decks running now? This like a one of spell snare. force this. I know it's aggressive, like really aggressive, but answer for the force too. Bro, what hand did you keep? Up to 2 snare. Flex spots are snare, spellbomb, flame of Anor. I mean, it looks like the flex spots are changing just about every list. Like Bolt, Preordained, Pierce, Snare, Swan Song, Flame, Offer You Can't Refuse, Into the Flood Maw, Stock Up, Unholy Heat. Opal, Tameo, Tarn. Just hold off on cracking this fetch in case I find a push. Yep. They do have to tap down off of Emery as a blocker if they go to cast something from the yard. Like if they don't have much else, they might just have to sit here and loop spell bomb. Need me a fatal push. Fun a game versus black white. Flip my Tameo so they go for Ketramose when I'm tapped out. Pitch subtlety. Then they cast again. Hard cast subtlety. Third turn I cast my third subtlety. That's when it feels good. That's when you're like, oh, this subtlety card's pretty dope. Here. Kept something on top, drew into it. Should be like a free block for them, but I just gotta hold up my double counter. That would have been a good reason to play the frog. All right. Removal spell for Emery. Removal spell. Closed. Instead of Misty Rainforest, I could have used that being anything else. I guess they put the Saga on top of the Thoracle, used it last turn, and already made a land drop. Why is it always an artifact deck that's stupid? Well, let's take a look at the long list of decks that should have probably been banned because of Mox Opal. And we can find our answer. You just have to dig deep and look at all of the eggs and the KCIs and the affinities of the world. Be like, what do these have in common? And get the Soul Guide Lantern. Cool. I'm just gonna let this first construct go. This has also resulted in at least one ban. Has it? What stats has gotten banned? All right. Oh, in Pioneer. That's fine. Let's say here I have Flame of an Oran Wizard. We hit Emery and Station, right? Emery, yes. Station doesn't really matter to hit. It's kind of like the same reason you don't really care about counterspelling Station is if they have another breach, then blowing up the station just doesn't do anything. So I would just kill the Emery and draw 2. Yeah, draw 2, kill Emery. Like, Grave Hate is kind of overrated against Breach, and countering or blowing up the grinding station is pretty overrated. At the same time, I think Pest Control is pretty overrated against Breach, because, like, if you blow up a bunch of Moxes and fill up the graveyard and they top deck a Breach, they just get all that stuff back. So wasting a card on blowing up the setup pieces doesn't really help your win percentage. It's okay if you just like want a sweeper to take out Saga constructs, but as a way to stop Breach, not worth it. All right. Since I've got Harbinger in hand, my plan becomes to try to aggressively go after Mox Opal if I can. I'm trying to shut off their ability to make non-blue mana. Set the card on top. Okay. Definitely makes this a lot easier. Spell snare. Spell pierce. All right, I'm going to start with consider to see if I hit the land that I need to Harbinger, which I do. So I'll keep that. I'm really tempted to just force here, but I think I'm okay with landing Harbinger, letting them have one clue, and then getting to untap. Especially if it means I get to interact with a Mox Opal. Like I've chosen the path of Harbinger, so I've got to interact with Mox Opal. Go for Dismember on their upkeep. Unless they go to crack this clue token. If they go to crack the clue, then I'll Dismember now. Yep. Show me a Murktide. 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 I guess that could be worse. Usually you want to be in this situation with like a frog or a bowmaster or a Murktide or something. Get you a little more value here. Okay. That could be a basic swamp. It could be a Murktide. Go. We're going to wait for the Emery to target something before I go for the spell bomb. Got it. I do mill a Mox Opal. I'm absolutely taking that out because, again, the entire plan involves not letting them have any color mana other than blue. And I can't do that if they've got Mox Opal. Okay, on to game 3. They know about Harbinger now, which can be a little awkward. There's not really much I can do about them knowing about Harbinger. For the most part, all these breach lists are only running a single basic island. So they're not running basic mountain, basic swamp, or basic forest. So likely can't do anything about Harbinger regardless when it resolves. I just have to try to set up a window for it. I could bring in a Murktide back over like a Stern Scolding on the draw. But I think I'm just going to roll with it as is. I hate these hands so much. I feel like I need to mold to a hand that's got a turn 1 removal spell. To just run the risk of like an Emery getting too much value. I do have Spell Bomb that's a little bit better. I can do better. Okay. Throwing back. Consider. Okay. Makes me a little bit happier that I kept the second threat. Opponent, I really need you to miss the second land drop this one time. I really need it, damn it. I just never want to listen. Well, even like push off the top isn't that good because they have another Emery. If they only had one, I would have just thought seize the Emery and left them with the Mox Opal. But alas, there were more of them. I'm not really sure why they didn't play out the Mox Opal on turn 1. All right. So we're going to counterspell this spell bomb. They found the third land. Well, that's how she goes. Or I guess they've got Mox Opal, so they can't flame right here. We might have a chance to get one attack in with a frog. Maybe. They might just flame. Or they kept one lander and hit 3 of the next 4. Or 3 lands in the next 4 draws. What did they just do? They fail to find an island or a mountain. So we're going to get one attack in with a frog. Which means dismember off the top is the single best thing we can find here. Dismember off the top and we're still playing. Or surgical. Hold up. Hold up. Let him cook. All right, so what's my plan here? I can surgical the spell bomb. still have to deal with the flame of Anor. So I think I just pass. We go for the Emery. We go for the Spell Bomb. Sure, we exile the one out of the yard. Opponent top deck the Soul Guide Lantern. Which is a little annoying. Upkeep, go for the Flame of Anor. Back in your hand. I want to preordain because I'm looking for a Force of Negation. Whatever I draw there doesn't matter because it's getting discarded anyway. Go. Try again. Green mana. Need blue. Undo. There we go. Saving that. Getting a whole mess of bauble draws. That's getting discarded. Or is it? I don't think I've got Bowman in the deck still. I guess I boarded out all of them. I'm gonna just deal the 5. I guess this could like stop them from fetching. They already know about it, so hold up. Yep. Got a Tameo. I need like consider bin a card, draw a removal spell for Tamiyo. Not quite, but not bad. No. Do I need to just counter this so I can force the Tamiyo block? You gotta breach, you gotta breach. Now they're at least forced to block with the Tamiyo, so they can't keep getting free redraws off of it. They can't get free redraws off of it. It gives me a chance to find something to fill my yard to fly the frog for lethal. Quickest soul guy lantern ever. Find the breach. Rumble found it. All right. Both sides fought hard. By both sides, I mean nobody. Not gonna let me see. Yeah. I don't know. I think we had to make something happen there. I don't think we can afford to just like keep swinging into chump blockers when they're getting 3 blocks a turn, and getting the Tamiyo off the board. I think is more important than getting the token off the board. All right, so we got to pay out some predictions. We're destined to have the top 8s go poorly, but it happens. What decks you bring in the Kaito against? Looks like somebody already answered. Black, white, the mirror, and control. Any idea what else top 8'd? I know Azax was on breach. Hazard was on breach. Chiavetto we played earlier. Round 3, so that was black, white. I'm not sure about the rest of them. Yeah, minimum 2 breach decks. It was fun regardless. Feel like we I don't want to say we got the do better with Broodscale. Was it? I thought we played black white and then no, you're right, it was McWin sauce on black white. Yeah, she bet it was Broodscale. So at least two breach, Broodscale, Murktide, and no idea on the rest of them. But I don't know. I like the list. I feel like we ran into a little bit of rough variance there, but I could also understand being a little bit worse against breach when I cut like the 3rd spell snare out of the deck. So I might have to go back to the 3rd spell snare, maybe over a Tamiyo, maybe over a Preordained. Not sure yet, but it's kind of understandable to have that be a speed bump matchup after I cut some amount of cards for that matchup. So I feel like I haven't been seeing it. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Maybe 3 Bowmaster, maybe, but I kind of want the 4 if I'm going to run Kaito in any numbers. Starfall, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Greatly appreciate it. W, thank you so much for the follow. Hope both of y'all are having an awesome afternoon so far, or evenings, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you're at in the world. I like probably 68 or so of this 75. The 2 Tamiyos are definitely still flex spots. The Preordained's a flex spot. The 6th removal spell definitely is. Thoughtseize I like. I don't know if it's going to be a main or side thing. In the sideboard, I haven't liked Deluge very much. Anoint's like okay, but it's literally only for Ketramose. So somewhere in those like 6 spots, I think I can find some better stuff potentially. But we'll keep messing around, try out some more challenges as they pop up. I have been enjoying streaming more of these challenges, so any excuse to do so, I'm kind of on board with. Other than that, let me drop a couple of links in chat. Again, the Twitter, first place it gets updated when we go live, Blue Sky, the YouTube, if you want to check this out, or other leagues, challenges that we've had going on, and Discord, if you want to come join the Control Freak Discord. Come say hey, come talk about the list. But other than that, I'm going to send everybody over to Kevin, who's playing some Abzan Ketramose. So if you want to check that out, feel free to stick around, share some love from the channel. As always, really appreciate y'all coming and hanging out during the challenge. Makes it a lot more fun and exciting to play when you got people to converse with. Thanks so much for the new followers, the new subscribers. Greatly appreciate the continued support. Other than that, I will let y'all get on with the rest of your evening. Stay safe. Enjoy some good food and company. I will catch y'all back live later. Adios for now.